From ancient Mesopotamian accidents to American Revolution taverns, beer has shaped human civilization in surprising ways. This golden drink didn't just quench thirst, it built pyramids, saved lives, and even influenced where the Pilgrims landed. Around 10,000 BCE, in the fertile lands between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, someone made a mistake that would change history forever. Some ancient Mesopotamian farmers had stored their grain in clay pots, but rain seeped in and got the grain wet. Instead of throwing it away, they noticed the wet grain had started bubbling and giving off a sweet smell. Being curious and probably hungry, they tasted this fermented grain soup and discovered the world's first beer. The grain had naturally fermented thanks to wild yeast in the air, turning the starches into sugar and then alcohol. This happy accident led them to deliberately soak grains to make this new drink. They found that not only did it taste good, but it was safer to drink than plain water and made people feel pretty good too. Soon, they were making it on purpose, marking the start of brewing history. Moving to ancient Egypt, beer became more than just a drink. It was a form of payment and a vital part of building those massive pyramids we still marvel at today. The workers who built the pyramids received part of their wages in beer, getting about 4-5 liters daily. This wasn't just about keeping workers happy. Beer provided crucial calories and nutrients they needed for their heavy work. The Egyptians had even created special breweries near construction sites to keep up with demand. They made their beer by baking loaves of bread with special grains, then crumbling them into water to ferment. The mixture was filtered through large sieves, creating a thick, nutritious brew that was safer to drink than water from the Nile. Egyptian beer was so important that they even had a goddess of beer named Tenanit, showing just how central brewing was to their culture. During the Middle Ages, monasteries became Europe's brewing headquarters, with monks turning into the master brewers of their time. These religious men didn't just pray, they perfected beer-making techniques that we still use today. Monks brewed beer for several practical reasons. They needed a safe drink during their fasting periods, and they had to provide refreshments for travelers seeking shelter at their monasteries. The monks kept detailed records of their brewing methods, experimenting with different ingredients like herbs and hops. They discovered that hops not only added flavor but also helped preserve the beer longer. Many famous beer styles we know today, like Belgian Trappist ales, come directly from these monastery traditions. The monks were so good at brewing that their beers became popular outside monastery walls, creating a thriving trade that helped support their communities. Some monasteries even got special permissions from local rulers to be the only brewers in their areas. During the Dark Ages, when clean water was hard to find, beer actually became a lifesaver. Most water sources in medieval towns were contaminated with dangerous bacteria, leading to deadly diseases. But the beer-making process naturally made water safe to drink. When brewers boiled their water and added hops, they unknowingly killed harmful bacteria. The alcohol in beer also helped keep it clean, while the nutrition from grains gave people important calories and vitamins. Even children drank a weak version of beer called small beer instead of water. This wasn't about getting drunk, it was about staying healthy. Beer was such good medicine that hospitals and doctors would give it to patients. Towns with breweries typically had healthier people than those without. Some historians think this is why beer-drinking cultures often survived better during plague times than those that mainly drank water. Let's explore a fascinating but often overlooked chapter in beer history, the story of alewives, the women who once dominated brewing. In medieval England and other parts of Europe, brewing wasn't a man's job at all. It was considered women's work, just like baking bread. These skilled brewsters, or alewives, made beer in their homes and sold it from their front windows, marking their houses with special ale stakes. They were so common that the word brewer was originally feminine. Alewives were essential to their communities, providing a safe drink and earning money to support their families. They passed down brewing secrets from mother to daughter, creating unique recipes that helped establish many beer styles we know today. But as brewing became more profitable in the 1500s, men gradually took over the trade, pushing women out of their traditional role. Here's a surprising fact about the Mayflower's famous landing. It wasn't exactly planned. The Pilgrims actually meant to sail to Virginia, but they stopped at Plymouth Rock because they were running out of beer. Back then, beer wasn't just for fun. It was a vital source of clean drinking water. The Mayflower's logbook shows they were getting worried about their beer supplies running low, writing, "We could not now take time for further search, our victuals being much spent, especially our beer." The passengers had been drinking beer instead of water during their journey because water stored in wooden barrels would quickly grow bacteria and become dangerous. When their beer started running out, they decided to make landfall at the first suitable spot, which turned out to be Plymouth Rock. Once there, they quickly set up a brewery, one of the first buildings in their new settlement. The American Revolution wasn't just planned in fancy meeting halls, it was sparked in taverns over mugs of beer. These taverns were like the social media of colonial times, where people gathered to share news, debate politics, and yes, drink beer. The Green Dragon Tavern in Boston became so important for revolutionary meetings that it was nicknamed the headquarters of the Revolution. Sam Adams, Paul Revere, and John Hancock would meet there regularly to plan resistance against British rule. The British even called these taverns hotbeds of sedition. Tavern owners often served as trusted messengers, passing along secret information between revolutionary leaders. The Sons of Liberty planned the Boston Tea Party at the Green Dragon, and Paul Revere's famous ride began after a signal from a tavern. The Industrial Revolution brought huge changes to beer making, turning it from a local craft into a modern industry. Brewers led the way in developing new technologies we still use today. Take refrigeration. It was actually beer makers who first created reliable cooling systems. Before artificial cooling, brewers had to stop making beer in warm months or use expensive ice blocks. But in 1873, Carl von Linde invented mechanical refrigeration specifically for Munich brewers. This invention didn't just change beer, it revolutionized food storage worldwide. Breweries also pioneered assembly line production methods before Henry Ford made them famous. They developed automated bottling systems, conveyor belts, and quality control measures that other industries later copied. These innovations helped breweries grow from small local operations into large companies that could ship beer nationwide. The 13-year ban on alcohol in America from 1920 to 1933 changed beer culture in ways we still see today. When Prohibition hit, it wiped out most small breweries that had been running for generations. Only the biggest companies survived by switching to making things like ice cream and near beer. When Prohibition ended, just a handful of large breweries remained, leading to decades of limited beer choices. But Prohibition also created some surprising new habits. It made drinking at home more common, since people couldn't go to bars. It also pushed women into bar culture for the first time, as speakeasies became more welcoming to female customers than old-time saloons had been. The era even gave us the cocktail trend, as people tried to mask the taste of poor-quality bootleg alcohol with mixers. The craft beer movement is bringing brewing back to its roots, but with a modern twist. Small brewers are looking to ancient recipes and techniques, like using wild yeast just like those Mesopotamian farmers did by accident. They're reviving old monastery beer styles and experimenting with historic ingredients that big breweries had forgotten. Today's craft brewers are even bringing back the community focus that medieval alewives had, opening small neighborhood brew pubs where people can gather. They're using traditional methods like barrel aging and open fermentation, but adding new flavors and techniques. This mix of old and new has created an explosion of beer styles, from ancient sour beers to modern hazy IPAs. It's like history repeating itself, with small local brewers once again becoming the heart of beer making. Thanks for joining us on this fascinating journey through beer's incredible history. From ancient accidents to modern craft brewing, beer continues to shape our world. If you enjoyed learning these surprising stories, please like, subscribe, and share with your history-loving friends.